My idea for doing this project came out of thinking about racism and thinking about anti-Semitism and issues of assimilation in general and ways that people get identified from the outside that and how that affects how people identify themselves kind of from the inside out. Growing up, people asked me what I was a lot, and it created some definitely confusion for me about not being sure who I was. It made me feel like I was something different than whomever. And the only people that didn't ask me who I was seemed to be Jews. So I figured, oh, well, I guess that's what it is that people are wondering, because only non-Jews wonder it. So I guess the answer is I'm Jewish. The Jews I grew up with looked a million different ways, though. There was blonde Jews and dark Jews and light Jews and short Jews and tall Jews. And there was a sense in my mind of certain people looked Jewish and certain people didn't look Jewish. And I started to wonder, what is the Jewish look that we think of? And in this country, it's largely has to do with Jews from Europe. But the piece of looking Jewish, I don't think, is a piece about looking European. In fact, I think what people mean by the Jewish look is that which distinguishes a Jew from the idea of what a European is supposed to look like. What it means to be a Jew has often been seen through the lens of what's convenient for the dominant culture that Jews are living in. And I think that that's given us a sense of confusion about getting to identify ourselves and what it is to be a Jew. And during different stages of anti-Semitism in Europe, Jews were seen as a different race or foreigners or coming from a different origin, not just being a religion. And we've often identified ourselves throughout history as being a people. We are a nation, we are a group, we are a culture. So I'm not sure when or why the assumption developed that because Jews lived in a certain place that they share a heritage in a certain way with the other people that lived in that place. My father's family lived in Poland for generations, but I went to Poland and nobody there looks anything like my father or my family. My father was raised in Israel, and that growing up made sense to me. I looked around at the Lebanese people I knew, I looked around at the Israelis, I looked around at the Jews. There seemed to be a general connection there of Middle East. Somehow we're all connected to the Middle East. And it's only as an adult that I've started to understand that, people think Jews are European in the United States. So I've been wondering about in European cultures and in the U.S. where we've supposedly become part of the dominant culture and we're accepted, if the price that we've paid is having to pretend we are 100% European, that we don't have roots somewhere else, that we may not have a different background, and this bizarre, I think, assumption in the U.S. that Jews are white for the fact of being Jews and not looking any further than that. And in terms of talking about Israel, where Israel is seen mostly in the media as a white country, as Jews being white, when in fact more than half of the Jews in Israel are people of color. Although, confusingly, the other thing happens where it's assumed that a Jew is not white for the fact of being a Jew. So I'm trying to figure out where the Jewishness ties into everything and how it can mean both to everybody and neither to somebody. So I decided to start exploring these questions with people who had something in common with me as a Jew. Connection to Israel, connection to the Holocaust, connection to the U.S., connection to Europe or Russia, who are identified as white and sometimes not, are identified as a Jew, sometimes not, that have a certain level of ambiguity that I have, because I felt I could sort of know what questions to ask there and then build from there to ask all different kinds of Jews questions about their identity.